Greetings all, welcome to The Hardest Word with me, your host, Brett de Hoedt.
Sorry, I've done with you. I don't believe it.
I'm terribly sorry. Sorry, Graham.
It's fair to say that the 2021 edition of International Women's Day is the most energised International Women's Day that we've ever had, certainly that I can remember. There seems to be a collection of movements that have gone from hashtags to creating real social change, or at least threatening to. And some very powerful men across the globe are having some very uncomfortable moments, and not before time. So I thought it'd be great to update and re-release a collection of apologies from women. Women deliver most of the apologies on the program. We're short on male apologies. And the female apologies, looking back at these ones in particular, could only be from women. Our show lets people speak for themselves, quite literally uninterrupted. And we hear from people, male, female, and every other variety of human, the sort of people we don't usually hear from. And we're going to hear from some places we don't usually hear from, Bangladesh, Kenya, China, as well as those that do get their fair share of the limelight, the UK, Australia, the US, and Macedonia as well. So, these apologies could only be from women. We're going to start off going to the delightfully named Castle Hedingham in Essex, England, where Casey lives. I looked up Castle Hedingham. Apparently it's one of the most pretty villages in all of Essex. It's in the top 11. However, life for Casey hasn't been as pretty as one would have liked, and thus this apology.
Dear self, it's been 25 years, hasn't it? You've looked very tired lately, like there's so much going on, but you've only smiled when people ask you about it. This is my apology to you for not listening on time, for not giving you enough attention, for making you think your problems aren't worth the same gravity and attention other people's are. I am sorry that it took me 19 years to get help. I was young, and I'd somehow made excuses for it all. They didn't do anything that bad. I'm the sole daughter, so of course they'd be more controlling. They've done a lot, so of course they expect a lot from me. Once in a while it doesn't matter, because they're nice the majority of the time. That's not how abuse works, and what you suffered was abuse from your childhood until now. And I'm sorry. I never thought it was severe enough to warrant getting help. But I thought, other people have it worse, you know. Was a good excuse. I can't apologise to you enough for it. How different life would have been if I'd noticed earlier. Perhaps. Would you have been less anxious all the time? Less looking over your shoulder? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I wasn't around when I should have been. But I know your friends were good. They stuck with you when I couldn't, when I was looking for ways to forget what was happening, and they've always been there. Have you thanked her yet, Kay, who suggested therapy? You should. It was such a pivotal moment in your life, in our life. I saw you break down again and again. And I saw you try to build yourself back up, one step at a time, until you were someone I'd never seen before. It was scary and exhilarating. Suddenly you liked matcha lattes, and working out had become your favourite habit. You started reading again too. Burned through 50 books with no signs of stopping. there was the girl I'd missed. And you wrote and you drew and you sang. There was the joy I'd been afraid had been lost. You glowed. You glow. It is all your hard work, and I am so, so proud of you. Yes, there is a way to go, but I think you're more than halfway there. I'm sorry for not being fast enough, but, you know, you've done well. We've done well. I've done well. Thank you for giving me room to grow. I love you. Kay.
You know, it takes a patriarchy to put together the hardest word. It's myself and Brian Wallace. He's our audio director. And if you're hearing this program at all and it's edited and there's music and sound effects and mood and atmosphere, that's all thanks to Brian, who works out of Montrose, California. And you can find out more about him and his many pursuits at dubrobot.com, dubrobot.com. So there's the two of us, and we rule supreme here. And some people aren't happy about it. I'm talking about Blagorodna Ilevsky from Skopje, which is the capital of Macedonia. She has written one of the most powerful apologies that we're going to run in Series 1 of this program, although I technically suspect it's not an apology at all, nor should it be.
Apologies. Apologies to the patriarchy that is so threatened by my presence that it works to subject me. I'm sorry that my claim for equal rights makes you think that I'm trying to dominate you. It must be a difficult life to be so delighted. It would seem that you're more scared than a woman walking down a street at night. And obviously, women are such superior creatures of intelligence that you seek to choke out that light. And we are such divine beings that just our appearance can tempt men into sin. Apologies, because you're so weak that you can't claim responsibilities for eating an apple. Sorry, we will not be your fall guys, because you act as children and want a scapegoat. I'm even sorrier for the women who put other women down. You're part of the problem. See, it isn't the men who are the problem. It is the patriarchy. It is the mindset. Apologize to those who hold this mindset for the disappointment you will face when women will no longer apologize all the time. Apologies to the men and women that think they can define where a woman's place should be. The disappointment of being wrong can be an easy burden. Apologies that I'm not going to be a superwoman in the way you want me to be. I may not be the homemaker plus office achiever, but I may have many jobs of my interest. I don't have to conform to the society-approved norm of following a single career path and ascending in it. We've got one life to experience everything we want to. I pledge that I will no longer be apologetic for my rights to exist as a human. I too want to walk down a street without being catcalled or whistled, without being stared at or assessing my surroundings for threats. I have the right to be a mess and not know what is happening rather than being perfect. I have the right not to be held as goddess of perfection. I just want to be me. I have the right not to be judged by the smallest mistakes I make just because I'm a girl. I have the right to be a leader without being called bitchy or bossy. I have a right to be grumpy and not be told to smile more. I'm not, after all, a lone ornament. Apologies that I don't feel very apologetic for my insistence on being a person and not a wallflower with cooking skills. No longer will I remain silent. As ambitious as I might be, I'm sorry I won't give you my 200% at the cost of my health, nor will I work myself to death. I have the right to not get married or not want kids, because as a person I can define my own life and what makes me happy. I am not sorry that I am who I am.
There are 1.4 billion people in China. So far, only one of them has contributed an apology to the Hardest Word podcast. I'm talking about Yabe Li, who lives in Shenzhen City in China. Her apology is remarkable, not just that it's the first from China, but it's remarkably open and honest. And it also highlights something that I'm becoming more aware of with these apologies, that yes, we do have so much in common no matter where we're from. And sometimes I feel that's a little bit politically correct to say, but I agree with it. But also, politically incorrectly, these apologies sort of show and highlight countries and circumstances and lives.
This is to An, my 4-year-old niece. We are very close now. She lives together with me, while her mom and dad live and work in another city in a small rented apartment, which is impossible for her to stay with her parents. When my sister got pregnant, she lives in a much worse room together with another 4 women who could share the rent. The room got an odor and no sunshine, and they also lined up to use the bathroom in the morning. She can't live with her then boyfriend because he stayed in the dormitory provided by the factory he was working. When she told him the news about his pregnancy, he didn't say anything. No proposal, no promise, no commitment. He left it to her decision that she could have or give up this baby. Abortion was like a way of contraception in China. I told my sister that she could have a different life, that she was too young to have a baby, that she deserved a better man. But when I saw my baby niece, when they're out of the delivery room, she just met the world half an hour ago, while she could actually open her eyes. I thought she was looking at me. I was shameful. But it was the most amazing thing in the world.
I don't think I've started any episode so far out of our 3 seasons with a warning for listeners, but I think it's appropriate here. There's a speck of bad language, but that's really not my key concern. The apology you're about to hear does include quite intimate and graphic accounts of domestic violence. So if that's a problem for you, I would frankly skip this episode. But for those of you who want to listen to it, I'm glad you do, because it's a powerful apology from Kim in Australia, who clearly enjoys her writing and has taken a very artful approach to her apology. You know, again, during COVID-19, domestic violence is estimated to have gone through the roof, though calls to some domestic violence helplines have actually dropped because the victims cannot find themselves a moment to make the call. Another horrific story I've heard from the world of domestic violence is that some males are pretending to be COVID-19 positive as an excuse not to leave the house. Just another way to control their partner. So let's hear from Kim as she tells a story about her fantasies crashing with reality.
Hi, my name is Kim, and I have an apology for you. When I was a teenager, my friends and I spent many hours discussing futuristic relationships. Secret smiles and girly giggles accompanied much of these conversations. Dreams floated somewhere above us, encased within invisible pink bubbles tied with crimson ribbons. The man of our dreams awaited to sweep into our lives when the universe conspired our fated meeting. We could barely wait. Dreams. They are the cornerstone of imagination and make the world go around. They form the wings of precious wishes and exquisite desires. And they are none so much as precious as the promising dreams of love to a girl. My teenage dreams foretold love like no other. He was charming and smart, caring and tender. His smile would light up my heart and quicken my pulse, no doubt. He was open-minded, sweet and compassionate. He was witty, vulnerable, yet strong. Most of all, though, he would respect me. Respect. This quality was vital and posed lengthy, in-depth discussions among our group. None of us had a history of violent homes, yet we were more than aware of the widespread violence against women that went on behind closed doors. My convictions were strong. I would never tolerate violence or mistreatment from my future partners. Never. But the convictions of a girl who dreamed of falling in love fizzled as time moved forward to present a man who she thought possessed the above qualities. They say that love is blind. Perhaps it is. But I think that an open heart nurtures forgiveness, tolerance, and empathy. And it is those elements of love that can become the foundation under which the narcissist to thrive. She was giddy. Excitement filled her. The future stretched untouched and perfect beneath his devotion. They would stick together through thick and thin. They would carve the path and create dreams. They would love and be loved. But dreams are nothing when the edges begin to crack and the shadows start to loom. Excitement fades when the constant barrage of demeaning comments begin to chip at your psyche. The convictions of a girl drown in a tsunami of guilt when he kicks you so hard that you can barely walk for a week, or tells you he would gladly do jail time for your death. I'm sorry, honey. I'll make it up to you. Some apologies are smothered in gold jewels, international holidays, and new clothes. Some even take on the form of a new car. Fuck. I was feeling a little cagey. You stepped on my toes. I'm sorry, honey. It will never happen again. I love you. Some apologies are made from delusion, even when delivered sincerely. Goodbye, dreams. So long, respect. Enter guilt, self-loathing, and everything black. Black for the single most horrific day that still haunts me. The day the screams of my little boys followed me down the hall as he gripped my scalp and dragged me to the bedroom. Black for the moments my heart split when they watched from the threshold as he flung me on the bed and punched me in the head. Black for the terrified eyes that blinked back at me. Boom. My ears throbbed and my head pounded. The sound of his voice reverberated somewhere in the distance as he growled, but I felt nothing and heard nothing as I focused on the horrified eyes brimming from the doorway. Some moments you can never undo. Some moments stay with you no matter how deep you bury them. I'm sorry for the charred dreams and teenage wishes snatched by brutality. I'm sorry for betraying the convictions and values that I had so strongly believed in. I'm sorry for abandoning my sense of self-respect, self-love, and self-worth. Most of all, I'm sorry for the innocence stolen from my little boys the day their world turned black. Some apologies are never too late to be expressed, and some apologies last forever. Thank you.
People don't dance as much as they used to. A whole lot of reasons, I suppose. Dancing's become maybe too cool, the domain of people who go to music festivals or clubs, and who would just put on a record or music at home and expect their friends to dance at a house party. Maybe they do. Not my friends. It's been a long time between dancing, but it's, if not exactly by choice, no one's stopping me from dancing. That is not always the case, sadly. And there is an apology that again just expands my mind and my understanding of how people are living. It comes from Dhaka, in Bangladesh. And it's from Adita. She used to love to dance. She has, however, now become a woman. And it is not okay for her to dance. And thus, she has had to say goodbye to something that made her feel very good. And she feels bad about it.
The one to whom I would like to apologize today is my first love, whom I cannot, or should I say, am not going to pursue because I'm scared. Too scared to hold my ground in front of my family and to follow my dreams. If you are thinking that I am talking about some old lover, then you are wrong, because I did not even know the meaning of the word love when I did fall in love with dancing. I started dancing when I was 5. Dancing makes me feel free, like I'm somehow flying without a care in the world. It's like the moment the music starts, everything comes to a standstill for me. And now I am giving it all up because I'm tired of fighting, of having a husband who hates it every time his wife goes to the stage and dances to her heart's content. I'm so sorry that I have to let you go. After all these years, in spite of the fact that you have been nothing but loyal to me, acted as medication to cure my heartaches, consumed my worries and filled me with happiness, love and warmth, I am the one abandoning you. I am sorry that when the time came to choose between you and my family, I am choosing them. Please try to forgive me if you can, because I know I won't ever be able to forgive myself.
Over the course of the show, some of the most, I think, impactful apologies have been people who are apologising to themselves. The apologies seem to come out of a period of reflection and a clear-headed analysis of where they've gone wrong, perhaps, or what they would have done differently and how it's impacted their lives. Gina Johnson from Canada has lived a very full life, and she's been reflecting on it, and she has recorded this very thoughtful apology.
I grew up on the outskirts of a town called Prince George in Canada, on a small farm. Until I began school, and during the summers, my only friends were animals and my mom. When I began school, I was wise, but didn't have the social skills to survive, and was made fun of and excluded from the groups of kids. Shortly after starting high school, my parents broke up, and we moved to the city near Vancouver. The new me was popular, drank alcohol, smoked cigarettes, and had very few boundaries. Life was fun, but there was a little voice inside of me that was as persistent as the Lorax, whispering that I was selling myself out. My grades declined, and when my teachers or my parents tried to talk to me, I blew them off. At 15 years old, I fell in love with someone that didn't love me. Despite concerns from my family and friends, I chased dreams and moved out of home at 18 years old. Shortly after, I dropped out of college, started a family, and got married. In 5 short years, the dreams died, and we went through a divorce. That little voice came back and began guiding and directing me. I wasn't able to see how listening would help my despair, and I silenced it with vices again. I jumped into a relationship straight away, despite warning from both of our families. The wake-up came when I was 34 years old and had a heart attack. I lost my career, my friends, and shortly after was left with only my toddler and a newly diagnosed heart condition. I spent 5 years learning to know myself and became the person that God made me to be. My life coach helped me discover my values, and I apologized to the people that I had hurt in my past. In a seminar, I was asked the question, "Have you ever apologized to yourself?" In tears, I confessed that I couldn't and didn't deserve forgiveness. At this point in my life, I had become a Christian, and despite being told that we all deserved grace, I was not able to find it. I had forgiven everyone that hurt me, and it was easier than forgiving myself. Through tears, journaling, counseling, and praying, I made the decision to forgive myself. An apology cannot repair the damage that has been done. It can only bring change. I am sorry that I didn't listen to what I knew was right. I'm sorry that I lived with a victim mindset, turned hatred inside, and put myself down for many years. I'm sorry that I smoked and drank and starved my body to try and fit in with the people that I thought mattered most. For the spiral of negative thoughts, the beating I took telling myself that I was not good enough, pretty enough, or lovable enough that drove me to be sick. I'm sorry that I blamed my own heart for failing. I am grateful that despite the anger and neglect that you still guide me, still have faith in me to do the right thing. I'm grateful that my heart is now full of joy, full of love, and that instead of trying to bring people down, I now lift them up. I pray that my story shows others that if I am worthy of forgiveness, they are too. From this day on, I dedicate my life to living out my purpose and taking care of myself and those whose lives I have the opportunity to be a part of.
Today, we're going to Andhra Pradesh in India, where we're going to hear from Jyothi Goswami. Now, Jyothi has a big apology. It's to womanhood. And it brings to mind the great lyric, "Sometimes It's Hard to Be a Woman" by Tammy Wynette. Of course, don't forget that lyric is the opening line to Stand By Your Man. And I don't think that's what Jyothi has got in mind with this passionate apology from a very large part of the world, and I think it needs to be heard across that country and across the rest of the globe too. Jyothi, take it away.
I wish to apologize to womanhood. I lay myself under her generous, evergreen and tormented self because I couldn't do her justice. I should have fought harder against fate and circumstance, but I was shackled in the iron chains of my society. A society that shamed me for being a woman. A society that would kill me at birth because of the misfortune I would bring by being a girl. A society that would see me as a slut to drop in coins of male genitalia. Womanhood, you are not welcome in my society. Yet your hopeful self possessed me under the illusion that my strong spirit would bring pride to you. Please hear me out, womanhood. Please. I was stamped as a woman with bad character for being liberal, free-spirited, and untamed. I was told that the best of those in womanhood spoke in the softest tone and wore baggy robes to avert the male gaze. And I am a disappointment. I am loud, I am unfiltered, I am not submissive. I will wear my favorite pair of skinny jeans because I want to be those models that are glorified on social media. I know that when I get home, I will be showering off the looks of male lust that traced my body and the scrutiny of the women around them. I try to be strong womanhood. I do try to be, still. I haven't given up, but I'm sorry. I can't do enough for you. I'm sorry I prioritize my emotional well-being, when in my society, my emotions should only be channeled towards how wholeheartedly I scrub the dishes. I'm sorry, I couldn't stand tall enough to protect you against my mom and my brother, who would shame my body, shame my voice, shame me for burping at the dinner table, and couldn't care less about the sensitivity that you blessed and cursed me with. I'm sorry, womanhood, that I didn't fight hard enough for my freedom. My mom would tell me I have to be home before sun sets, because only hookers stay out after that time. I'm sorry that I allowed that to break me. I'm sorry I didn't cry enough when my parents wouldn't let me go on an all-girls trip to a foreign country. I have fallen in love with a man who loves me equally as much, who supports my womanhood, who taught me love, who treats my heart with care and caution. I am punished for love because my society does not believe that it is pious for women. I punished myself for it when my mom would want me to be married to a man that was just rich. I'm sorry I broke your heart, womanhood. I'm sorry, womanhood, for letting society kill me for having desire and wanting sex. I'm sorry that I let myself be shamed by society for being ambitious. I know you're always trying to patch me up, and I'm always running away like Mercury. I'm so sorry, womanhood. I'm so sorry for what I have done. I'll never stop trying to be what you want me to be.
You want to stay tuned for this one, folks. It is one of the most joyous apologies you will ever hear. It comes from Kenya and comes from Grace, who is about to transform internally before your ears. What do I mean by that? She is looking back on her life and her hang-ups, and she is about to cast them aside and keep them there. This is great. From Grace in Kenya.
Apology to you, my body, for hating you for so long. This is a sincere apology to you, my dear body. I have hated you for so long, when all you've done is love me, stand by me, carry me, and refuse to give up on me even when you've had every reason to. For as long as I can remember, I have hated you. I have loathed you. Every time I've stood in front of the mirror, you have disgusted me. All I've seen is a round, puffy face, huge belly, fat, stubby fingers, and huge feet. But what I didn't see, or refused to see, was my beautiful, flawless skin, soft, dark eyes, and my shiny, healthy hair. I have cried whenever I've looked at photos of you, my body. I have starved you, forced you to throw up, thus depriving you of vital nutrients, exercised, or rather tortured you to exhaustion, forced you to ingest bitter concoctions in the name of weight loss remedies, hidden you by wearing ugly, unflattering clothes, and forced you to stay indoors when all you wanted to do was go out, enjoy the sun, dance in the rain, and meet new people. Lately, however, I have come to realize that what I have always believed to be beauty is far from it. In this age of social media, I have spent the better part of my life thinking beauty equals skinny, period. To me, my thin friends have always been beautiful, while my fat self has always been ugly and disgusting. But these skinny friends of mine have always made my life miserable for as long as I can remember. My crime? Being fat. They have laughed at me and mocked me and talked behind my back and made selfish remarks about my weight. Some have even created funny memes about me and shared them across social media. That's not beautiful. at all. So the other day, I stopped and thought, these so-called friends of mine, my skinny and beautiful friends, do I really want to be like them? They are heartless and cruel and unkind. Do they even know how many times I have thought of killing myself for always being the butt of their funny jokes? Then I thought I'd rather be the fat girl than be the skinny, heartless girl who is always making harmless jokes at the expense of the next fat person. Then I analyzed my deeper self. I have always been fat, yes, but haven't I always been kind to everyone? Haven't I always been a faithful friend? Haven't I always been helpful? It was then that it occurred to me that I have been beautiful all along. My soul has been beautiful, and that should have been enough all along. I cried. Huge, ugly sobs. And today, my body, I can say that I have ceased to hate you. Yes, I no longer hate you. I love you. Because how can a body that houses such a beautiful soul not be beautiful in return? Please forgive me for hating you for so long, my body. I love you and promise to treat you right from today henceforth. Never again shall I be ashamed of you.
It's time to bring this whole sorry business to a close. On behalf of our audio director, Brian Wallace, and me, your host, Brett de Hoedt, thanks for listening. The website, thehardestwordpodcast.com. Farewell.